Okay, we are making another graph, but today we're going to show exactly what happens when that graph does not come out maybe like it has in the past, something a little different. So we're going to do the same thing that we've done. We've inserted our data. This is Google Sheets, so we've been pretty cautious and made sure that this first column is the one that we want on the x-axis, second column is what we want on the y-axis, and we're going to make sure that we put that in exactly right. We've only put in our units one time at the top, no units with numbers. So here it is. We're going to select the data that we want to actually graph. We're going to either go to our insert chart here, or we're going to go to insert tab, go down to chart, and boom, we get our graph. Graph looks pretty sweet. However, we need it to be a scatter plot. So we're going to go to our chart editor. We're going to click on the chart type and go down to scatter plot, and bam, there it is. However, we've hit a little snafu because this is not linear. We cannot simply just throw a trend line on that and call it good. So we need linear fits here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out our linear sheet. And our linearized sheet looks like this and should be in front of you now. And obviously this is our linear fit. It says that x increases, y increases proportionally, so y is directly proportional to x. In this case, we don't have to do anything. Like, we've made it, we've got our slope equation, y equals mx plus b, fantastic. However, this graph doesn't look like this, doesn't quite look like this blue one, but it does represent this. So what that means is that if our graph looks like this, it means that y is proportional to the square of x. So that means that if we want to linearize this graph, we need to get y versus x squared. So to do that, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let the Google Sheets do the work for us. So I'm going to move this graph aside, and what I want is I want a column for x squared. So here's what I'm going to do. What the thing is on the x that I want is time, but I want it squared, so I'm going to title it times squared. I'm going to put units in, and I'm also going to square units, so that's going to be times squared. I'm going to now let the computer do this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click equals, which says I want an equation. What do I want to do? I want this whole column to get squared, but each one individually. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm just going to click on the box that I want squared, and then I'm going to do Shift 6 to do a little caret to the second power, and I'm going to click enter. So now this is squared here. And in order to make all the rest of them do it, I'm not going to do that over and over again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here. Notice that I have the hand, I have an arrow, but right here I get a plus sign. I want that plus sign to appear, and I'm just going to drag this down for as many boxes as I have. So I'm down as far as I need to be. I'm going to let go, and boom. Now every one of these is squared. 0.5 squared is 0.25. 1 squared is 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, so on and so forth. So now I have my x squared, and I also need my y to be there too, but I need it unchanged. So I'm just simply going to drag this down, select it. I am going to copy this. So I'm going to do Control C, which copies that column. I'm going to click on the box next to my new x that I want, and I'm going to Control V, which pastes it there. So now I've got the new x that I want, or my regular y. Haven't done anything to that. I don't need to. So now I want to make a graph like this, so I'm going to go through my same steps. I'm going to just select the data. I'm going to go to Insert Chart. I am going to go to my scatter plot, and now notice that my scatter plot is linear. At this point, I know that I'm on the right track. So I'm going to go to Customize. I'm going to go to the titles, and my vertical axis, well, my vertical axis is position. So I'm just going to label that position. In this case, we measured in centimeters. Horizontal is not time, but time squared. And my units are seconds squared. And my chart title, they put it as X versus Y, but I do not want that. We need Y versus X all the time, so we need Y's position versus time squared, measured in seconds squared, and there we go. I don't really care to have a legend, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on my legend box, position, no position for you. And now we get to the really critical part, which is going to the box labeled series. And now that it's linear, now I can add a trend line. When I click on trend line, now I have some options, and the big thing that I want to get out of this is a label. The label that I want is to use the equation. I want to show the equation. I do not want to click r squared. I have no interest in r squared at this point. I just want the regular slope equation. So when I click that, that's what I actually get. So my equation now tells me that y is equal to mx plus b, and in this case, here it is. It doesn't ever show you y equals, but it's implied that y is equal to 6.27 times x plus negative 0.277. In this case, it's your y-intercept. And we'll talk about what that means in class and show how to actually get something from an algebraic equation that you would look at in math to something that we can actually use and apply in physics. So we're going to end up putting this in physics form, which is the whole reason that we're doing this, and getting a model for how things behave in certain situations. So more on that to come. Let me know if you have questions.